Ireland. This is Galway's City Shop Street, and it's quite sunny and it's very, very busy. I think it's a bank holiday. And yeah, very colorful, lots of tourists of course, and I know that there are some people out here who are putting up tables for all kinds of things, for not just selling stuff, but for political reasons. We just had the big referendum about abortion, but it looks like today it's just back to normal really, although I'm expecting to see Atheist Ireland out here at some point. But there are also some Christian proselytizers as well, so it's not just in my town in England. Okay, Kelvin O'Connor, thank you so much for talking to us, and you're here with Atheist Ireland in Shop Street in Galway. So how long have you been doing this, setting this table up?
We've been setting up this table as often as we can on a kind of a monthly basis for the past three and a half years now.
Wow.
We don't quite get to do it every month for various reasons. Christmas is always difficult in that, but in general we'll do it maybe 9 or 10 times a year anyway, you know.
Yeah, so a day like today is really good because there's a pretty big turnout of people,
yes,
of all persuasions.
The weather is unusually okay.
Well, okay, yeah, it's not pouring with rain, so that's something.
Yeah.
So what is the general consensus you get of people who walk by? Like, for instance, when you first set up the table, it says Atheist Ireland.
Yes.
What sort of, did you get odd looks? Did you get people of a religious persuasion sort of having a go, or?
Yeah, part of the fun of the table actually is trying to read the faces and try to understand what people are communicating when they don't come up to the table. So yeah, we get lots of curious looks, strange looks, amused looks.
Yeah.
I think you see the whole gamut of reactions, you know. But in general, I have to say the people that actually come up to the table and express something is, in the majority, it's quite positive.
It is quite positive.
Yeah, people are quite happy to see us here, or at the very least, they respect that we're coming out here and just saying, look, we're atheists. It's fine to be an atheist. We're here in Ireland. You know, Ireland has a strong reputation as a Catholic country and a deeply conservative one, and we're kind of here going, no, that's not the case for all of us, you know.
But you couldn't have done this, say, 30 years ago. Or could you?
Well, no, certainly not me, because I was 5 years old.
Oh, well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, of course. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. And it's important to remember there's still lots of countries all over the world where you most certainly cannot do this. And occasionally we have people from Middle East countries who tell us, you'd be killed in my country for doing this, you know.
Yeah.
And there are certain laws that we campaign to get changed that are very relevant to that sentiment, particularly the blasphemy law that we still have in this country. That's one of the things we're campaigning for. And since the repeal of the Eighth has come through now, I think we'll start to focus more on the likes of the blasphemy law, which is actually used as an example in other countries as a modern blasphemy law that has been passed in a Western country. We don't prosecute based on it, but it does have a chilling effect here. But in countries like Pakistan, they're executing people for breach of the same law, you know. So it's important that we don't have that here, that we're not even remotely justifying what goes on there in Pakistan and countries like that, you know.
Your table looks like it is a Christian table.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. So have you been a Christian all your life?
I've been a Christian for about 19 years, and I'm here to tell people about Jesus Christ because he changed my life 19 years ago when my life was a mess and ruined with alcohol. So now he set me free from that.
What do you think about the way that things are changing in this country, what with young people? We've just had the referendum and it looks like it's going to be on the yes side, the pro-choice side.
Yes.
And we had the gay marriage a while back, 2015. So What do you feel about what's happening in this country?
I feel it is quite sad in a way, because it is going against the morals of the Bible and what God says, what way we live. But it does also say too, these things ought to be expected, because it says in the last days, I know Jesus is going to come back soon, and in the last days perilous times will come, and people will start to get away from God and to do their own thing, and I believe, even with the abortion issue too, it is a sensitive issue with people, but to me it is, life is precious in the womb as well as outside the womb, and we just have to protect it as well, inside the womb as well. But and then with the same-sex marriages too, it's all sort of going against what God says. It's not what I have said, it's what the Bible teaches.
What do you say to people who say, oh yes, but the Bible also seems to condone slavery, for instance?
Oh yes.
And human beings got rid of that, campaigned to get rid of that. Some used the Bible to justify it, and others used it to say, this is wrong, this is immoral.
Yeah.
But there's nothing really in the Bible that says, don't keep another person as property.
Oh, as a slave. I know it does say in the Bible about slavery, and there is things at that time, you see, you have to think about the culture then. Everybody is equal in God's eyes. We can't put anybody down. No matter
God does say that the slave, the servant is your property. You can beat him.
Well, it doesn't say you can beat him now.
I think it does in Leviticus.
Well, that's in Leviticus, but it does say about, in Leviticus a lot of laws you see was in that time. It does 600 and I think it's 613 laws, but a lot of them laws too was in the Old Testament, was at that time for the Jewish people, the Judaism as well, because they still keep to them laws in these days as well. But then it was before Christ come into the world as well, before grace. There was a lot of works. People sacrificed animals as well.
But Jesus came to uphold the law, didn't he?
He did. He didn't come to do away with the law. He came to fulfill the law as well. Love covers all the commandments that He's given us in the old law.
So the old law in the Old Testament says if your child is disobedient, you should take him to the town centre and stone him. That is no longer applicable.
That's no longer applicable. No, because if everybody.
But God did condone that at one time.
Oh well, it was condoned at that time. There's different cultures, you see, in that time, and now things have changed. If everybody that committed adultery in these days got stoned, like there was nobody left in the world, But
that's just what people like me don't understand, is why He would conduct slavery and that sort of thing at one time.
Before Jesus, that was way back, before Christ actually come into the world. It never happened. It didn't mention Jesus when He lived in the world. He never mentioned much about slavery or anything like that. It was done
probably because He didn't agree with the old law.
Mosaic law. It was before grace, you see. But there's a lot of laws back then. It was meant for that purpose. Like you could say, there's so much killings as well in the Bible. So many wars and battles.
There was what you could call genocide in the Bible as well.
It was indeed. I can't disagree with you, because these things happen for a purpose, because if you go against God's law, God is always meant to be a God.
Whenever you think of that, like the story of the Amalekites, that used to bother me as a child. Because God basically said, go in and kill everyone, kill the children, kill the animals. What do you think? I mean, I sort of I find that really difficult.
At that time it was horrible. We call them the horrible histories, of the Bible. But God allowed it. See, He allows a lot of things in this world. He could stop all these genocides too now. He could if He wanted to, but these things are meant for a purpose. We don't see the whole picture, but God sees the whole picture, and sometimes He uses these atrocities for some good might come out of them, just like the Holocaust too. I believe when the Jews were so much persecuted in the war,
and the firstborn children being killed and all that.
That happened in Exodus.
It doesn't seem like any good could come out of that.
No, well, you see, you talk about Moses leading the firstborn out of the... Well, you see, the children of Israel, they came out of slavery, and that's a good to come out of it, because they got out of Egypt after that was done. And see, God had to go to that extreme to soften people's hearts.
He couldn't have thought of something else.
Well, he did. He done 9 other plagues before that. He done that, and then that was the last plague. You see, that he had done. That's the worst one because there's only one that could soften Pharaoh's heart because it touched Pharaoh himself.
Do you think that's why a lot of people are turning away from the Bible because of there's violence? God seems very angry. He seems jealous, which are all very human, frailties and emotions.
See, we are made in God's image, and suppose we have these emotions too. You know, jealousy and. Well, you see, God, He created us, you know, in His image, and
so He can do what He wants.
But in a way, I suppose, but He is a God of love, but also too, He is a God of wrath. As well, and people forget that sometimes. You know, God does love the whole world, and He wants us all to live.
It's a bit like if we created little versions of ourselves. If we got fed up with them, we could just step on them because we made them.
No, it wouldn't be that well.
That's kind of what's happening in this world.
It is, because this world is getting worse and worse. It does say, you look at the Bible, it prophesies about the last days. These things will happen. Wars, rumours of wars, people will be lovers of themselves.
There's always been wars.
And there's
but people are also getting kinder and more humanitarian as well.
Well.
Not like back in the
it's all about materialism,
thousands of years ago.
Money as well is the bottom. Love of money is the root of all evil, and I think a lot of these things is happening, and the root cause is down to greed and money. It is horrible. At times, you know, some of the things happen, but God allows it for a reason.
I just had a walk around and I had a talk with one of your local proselytizers who was telling us about the love of Jesus. Do you get a lot of that in Ireland Shop Street here in Galway?
Certainly that gentleman in question seems to be here all the time, it feels like, you know. But it's rare enough that I see anyone actually at his table, so I'm not really sure how much support he has behind him, you know. I know that for the little period of time that we do the table, we often get lots of support and lots of people telling us how great it is we're here, and even the other people that maybe aren't so supportive. Generally speaking, in the end they respect why we're here and what we're doing. You know.
You don't have anyone shouting abuse at you or anything that sort of is right in you?
Very rarely. Very rarely. Even to be fair, even most people who would strongly disagree with us are usually relatively polite in how they express that, you know. And in fact, a lot of people that actually would be abusive tend to just fly past and shout something at us and keep going.
Is that from Irish people, or because you get a lot of people from different countries who are tourists here? Is that all across the board, do you think?
I think it's all across the board. I wouldn't like to say it's one particular nation or another.
So perhaps things are changing. It's indicative of perhaps a dialogue is starting to happen between belief and unbelief.
For sure things are changing. I mean, we just spoke earlier of how, you know, the 8th Amendment passed in 1983 by sort of 2:1, and it has been repealed now at 2:1. It's literally turned on its head, and that's in 35 years. So it's great progress. You see it all the time, you know, even with marriage equality in 2015 as well, you know. For sure things are changing for the better all the time, and we kind of feel like we're a small part of it here on the street.
Oh yeah, you're definitely doing your bit. You had a lady from Alabama just come up to you, and that's like the buckle of the Bible Belt almost, isn't it?
Yeah. So obviously when she announced from there, I was a little bit wary, wasn't sure where it was going to go, but we had a lovely chat. I just explained a little bit about how while we are there to promote atheism, our actual primary focus is just achieving a secular country, a secular state, and I explained a little about what that meant. And it turned out that even though she was from, as you said, the Bible Belt, and she was 74 years old, she actually agreed that organised religion in particular, although she believes in God herself, that organised religion is a source of a lot of evil in the world. And we had a lovely friendly chat, and we shook hands at the end, and you know, and that's what it's all about. You meet lovely, interesting people who may indeed have different viewpoints, but you still have a great chat with them, you know. And maybe you open their eyes to some of the issues we have in this country that, because she's not from here, she wasn't aware of, you know.
Yeah. So how long has Atheist Ireland been an organisation? How long has it been around? What are your goals, and how can people get in touch with you if they're interested?
Sure. So this year we're actually celebrating our 10th anniversary.
Yep.
Obviously started as quite a small organisation, but we've grown and grown, and you know, now our chairperson and other members get to speak at UN Human Rights Councils. We're regularly mentioned on in Dáil speeches. We're generally part of the discussion now, you know, and we're generally the go-to group for radio interviews and stuff discussing atheism and matters of religious interest, you know.
And you find them calling you more and more?
Yeah, certainly in the last 5 or 6 years in particular. And obviously it waxes and wanes depending on if there's relevant topics to discuss or not, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's great.
How can people get in touch with Atheist Ireland if they want to find out more or even become part of it?
Sure. So our website's easy to remember. It's atheist.ie. And you'll also obviously find us on Facebook and Twitter, and essentially all the relevant details and all our policies and what we stand for are all on the website.
Yeah, so anyone interested, you don't have to live in Ireland, do you?
Absolutely not. No.
You don't even have to be an atheist if you don't, I suppose.
You don't have to be an atheist, but it helps.
It does help.
Yeah.
Okay, Kelvin O'Connor, thank you very much indeed for talking to us.
Pleasure talking to you.
This comes to the end of our little recording session here in Ireland. We've seen the referendum and the pro-choice has won out, and I think progress has won out, but this one's a very conservative country, and it seems that progress is happening lightning fast, perhaps too fast for some people. The next thing, of course, is the blasphemy law. If that gets changed, that'll be progress indeed. So I think it's a case of coming back here one day and seeing how Ireland is getting on.